Welcome, everyone, to this glorious 12th day of June in 2025. We're so happy you're all here to join us. First, I would like to introduce my co-host, Marcia. Marcia, how are you doing today?
Hello, I'm doing great. Happy to be here, of course.
Yes, and since I am going to let Marcia take over for a little while, I'm going to let Marcia introduce our lovely guest today. So go
Well,
for it, Marcia.
I am thrilled actually to welcome Bryan J. Mangam to Talented Universe. And Bryan is, when I say multi-talented, I'm serious here because once you start hearing about all of the things that he's been doing, I think you're going to agree with me. An actor, writer, producer, an author. Welcome, Bryan.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Michael and Marcia, for having me on the show. I'm super excited to be here.
Well, and first, when I looked at the some of the list of things that you have done and you have coming up, I'm guessing that this is not an off day for you.
It has been very, very busy. I've been keeping my schedule pretty packed. So I'm
Mhm.
really excited for a lot of the things I'm working on.
Mhm. Of course, a lot of people are here for your vertical acting. So we'll get started with that. And
Sure.
one of our main questions that we ask is number one, how did you get introduced to the world of verticals? I'm pretty new to it myself. So, how did you get introduced to it?
Well, I actually got into it last year. It was pretty much this time last year. I think it was last May. And I was actually on set for a different project. And I got a text from a random number, and they just asked me if I wanted to be in this TV show. And I was a little confused. I asked if it was a speaking role. They said, "Yeah, you'll be a party guest. You have some lines." And I was like, "All right, sure." And next thing I knew, I um, I was on set. I filmed my scene. I was just in one scene, and I showed up on set, and it was a beautiful night. We were out in Brooklyn on top of a building, and it was like a party scene. And I didn't know what I was doing the whole time. It was super quick, super fast. There was like no rehearsal, and we did the scene, and then I was like, "Oh, that was interesting. That was cool. I have fun."
What
And
was that?
yeah, next thing I knew, I was like, I felt like I didn't do the best acting job, but I guess they liked it. And then here we are 1 year later.
So, do you remember the name of that project?
Yes, it was The Unwanted Heiress, and
Uh-huh.
it features Mariah Moss. She plays the lead, and I've worked with her a lot more since then.
Well, no, it's interesting because it's in New York now. Most of the verticals I've heard about, at least in the beginning, were made on the West Coast. So it's coming to the East then.
Yes, actually, there is quite a bit that they film in New York now. There's quite a few companies that they really shoot one or two each week, and they have been pumping them out. And honestly, all over the country now, all over the world, I see the casting calls in all different cities. But we do have a nice little community of vertical actors and crew members here in New York.
Mm-hmm. And when we talk about verticals, I know this is a question that Michael would ask.
Go
Is
ahead. Go ahead.
for someone who, like me, 3 months ago, had never even heard of a vertical, how would you describe, or how would you tell them what a vertical is?
Well, when I first heard them, I was kind of confused what it meant as well. Um, what they really are modern day soap operas. And as you guys all know, when you watch them, it really is, you take your standard soap opera or even like a telenovela format, because that's really how they're structured, and they're adapted for vertical viewing for our busy lives. And they have all this the standard soap opera tropes, the deception and the billionaires and the feuding families and romance and all of that, but just adapted for a modern audience.
Hmm. They have the heiresses and some outrageous titles, I have to tell you.
They are getting more and more crazy. Every day I laugh at them. I'm like, wow, I can't believe this is what the titles are, but people are watching them. So
You know what? I kind of figured out. I was trying to think of why they have such wild titles, and I figured, at least from my point of view, it's so you can find them.
yeah, and talk about them.
Hmm. So the circle of friends outside of the media world, are they coming to watch more verticals or? Uh,
Yeah, so it's interesting because I've talked to a lot of people who still don't really know what they are, even if I
mm,
bring up real short. But then other people, I'll tell them, oh, they're those soap operas, they're dramatic short films you see on TikTok. And
mhm.
people are like, oh, yeah, the werewolf ones. But
The alphas,
the
yeah.
alpha is like, the alphas, they're, I personally, I don't use TikTok. I try to limit some of my social media use because it's just too overwhelming. But from what I've heard, they really are everywhere now. And, sometimes I even see, I'm scrolling through, then I see clips of me and something, and I'm like, oh, yeah, there's me in the background or whatever.
And you have done so. How many have you done?
I've done 18 at this point.
Hmm.
Uh, a lot of smaller roles. A lot of times there are a few lines in a scene. I've had some larger ones, but for the most part, the smaller and a few supporting roles.
Hmm. Michael, let me know when you want to jump in because I can keep going.
Anytime, but I'm going to let you get out, your good questions, just to, get them all ready for my silly
Well,
ones.
since we're continuing along the verticals, one of the ones that I saw of yours is seems to be a progression because most of the ones early ones seem to be the heiress and the billionaire, and I saw one that was a period piece,
Yes, yes.
Wings of Fire.
Wings of Fire. Yes.
Hmm.
There is a progression. So that one we shot in Boston actually over the winter.
Hmm.
And that one was really so much fun. We were in this castle, I believe it's called the Hammond Castle in Boston, and it was right on the ocean. It was beautiful. The only thing was it was literally -10 degrees that whole week, and there was so much snow on the ground. But it was great because we were all fully costumed and
Yeah.
there is really a lot of progression in the
Hmm.
stories. There's more different types of
Hmm.
stories being told.
Yeah, I was looking to see if you was someplace where it was really cold or whether you were faking it. Y'all were cold.
It was cold. It was frigid, and I don't think anyone was prepared. I mean, I was kind of prepared because although I live in New York, it's like 5 hours from me. I kind of know the East Coast. The rest of most of the cast and crew was from California, and
Uh oh.
Uh-oh.
they were in for a shock. But we had one really funny story because at one point there was we had like a fire. The fire alarm went off because of an incident, and we had to evacuate the building. And
Crap.
it was so freezing out there, but we're all just outside, and everyone that has never seen snow before was just literally making snow angels, having snowball fights. And I was like, this is like so pure. Like everyone's experiencing the snow for the first time ever.
Mhm. Well, I have to tell you, I was born and raised in New York City, so well, that's one of the reasons I was excited to have you come on, and and when I was watching the the reaction to using the snow and all that. It was exciting again to see the progression of the vertical to that type of fantasy, and using the CGI and in with the Dragon Slayer.
Yeah.
And I thought it was pretty well done myself.
They really did a great job with the special effects on that.
Mm-hmm.
And I from what I heard when we were shooting, so for Real Short, and they're like the leader, their budget's the highest, and they said that was, I think, one of their biggest that Real Short has made. So
One of the biggest budgets.
Biggest budgets. Yeah. So I was like, I'm so grateful to be a part of this one.
Mm-hmm. And didn't they have a premiere for it in a theater?
They did in LA, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So that was awesome.
It's just amazing. And Michael, do you want to come in? Or
yeah, I crashed. That was really fun.
I saw you.
I had to fix something on the scroll down at the bottom, and it said, "Whoops, you have lost connection." And I went, "What did I
we saw
do?"
you blink out.
Yeah, it was like, okay, and it was IMDb that did that to me. I was really upset with IMDb right then. I put that in, and it just went crazy. Well, I'm going to get it to. Well, first, let's see. You asked him the good question, so I'm going to ask him this question from Justin, who has I ask this to everyone, which is true. He does. On a scale from 1 to 10, 1 being not at all, and 10 being that you are that person, how much do you relate to Ben McGrath?
Ben McGrath. So Ben McGrath is from The Streets, which is a crime film I did last year. And although he's pretty ruthless, I do feel like I can relate to him a lot because of how dedicated I think, how his persistence. So I would give it a 6 for Ben McGrath.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Thank you for that question.
Yeah, I'll throw the other question. You wrote a book, I'm Just Here. What's the most significant chapter in your opinion?
Ooh, okay. So that would be really tough. So I'm Just Here is a book of poems, a book of poetry that I wrote. And I wasn't really prepared for this question.
Want me to throw you in the other one he gave you, and you can think about that one?
Yeah.
Okay,
sure.
Let me do that. Okay. This might be worse. Sorry, that was the wrong one.
I can answer that.
What was the most important piece of advice Joe Whelski gave you?
Okay, so a great piece of advice that Joe gave me. Joe is my acting coach. Well, we really workshopped a lot on self-taping strategies for auditions. And I think, if I remember correctly, when I first started auditioning, my eye lines were all over the place. I was looking all over. I didn't know who I was talking to in these auditions when, I had to act out these scenes. And he really helped me out figuring out, like, okay, this is what's happening in the scenes. This is how you should be portraying, not necessarily the acting, but the direction of directing yourself in an audition tape. Because when you're sending in the audition at home, there's no director. So you have to do all the things that a director is doing to make a scene that makes you look marketable.
Now, I don't remember. I might have missed it. Did Marcia ask you how long you've been acting?
So I've been acting only about 3 years now, 3 to 4 years. So I'm still on the newer end of this. Every day I'm on set, I'm learning. I take notes on everything. But I really started taking it seriously, I would say, the last 2 years, where I'm really what I could I guess, say a working actor, where I've been very grateful to be working pretty consistently.
So you really didn't experience when everybody had to go to an audition. And
I did not.
yeah, so that was really one of my questions, but I said I better ask him first how long he's been doing it, because ever since COVID, almost all of it, what I understand, has been self-tapes.
Yeah, it's very, very rare for an in-person audition.
Yeah.
And although I still enjoy going, it's very nice to actually interact with people and just to switch it up, because self-tapes do get a bit just tiring sometimes being at home. But I never got to feel the thrill, and I think the stakes, because when you're sending in a self-tape, I mean, you're definitely more comfortable. You're not putting as much, I don't want to say you're not putting as much energy, but when you have to leave your house and travel and get to the audition and do all these things, it makes
see all the people that are going up against the same part as you.
Yeah. And it's like, well, I guess I'm really serious about this. Like, this is important. And then when it's the self-tape, you're like, not that you take it less seriously. You just, I don't know. It's just a different experience.
Yeah, well, that makes total sense. Are you ready for that question, or should I go on to a couple more of mine?
I'm ready.
You ready? Okay. About your book, I'm Just Here. What's the most significant chapter in your opinion?
Okay, so
In other words, which poem or group of poems, I should say.
So each of the poems that I wrote is pretty meaningful to me. Generally, when I write poetry, I am very deliberate with my words, and I prefer them to have meaning on multiple levels. So I often write kind of positive, palatable poetry that anyone can kind of insert into their lives, and it would make sense. But to me, it's also very personal. A lot of the poems that I have written are very introspective, and I don't know if there's one specifically, but there's a few that I wrote where I was really questioning, I guess, my path in life and really where my future was going. And I can't narrow it down to one, but the ones that I discussed that specifically really resonate with me the most. So I don't know if that was a direct answer, but there's
Well, I mean, it's a good answer. I accept it. So there you go. And how many years ago did you write that, the poetry book?
So I published it 2 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago. But the poems actually I wrote for about 8 years before that.
Okay. Yeah.
So each of the poems I would write 1 or 2 a year. I still write poetry, but it's very slow for me. It's not something I always get into. It's very hard for me to actually sit still and work on something. And that's really the reason why I kind of got into acting and filmmaking more, is because although I feel like in my bones, I'll always be a writer first. It's just so hard for me to actually sit and write stuff. So for me, acting, a part of that is writing and portraying characters as well. So I love whenever I can just like ad-libbing lines and improv and anything like that. I just love.
Well, here's a question for you. On the verticals that you have done, is there a particular genre that you prefer to act in, such as vampire, werewolf, period piece, gangster, things that, do you have a favorite, or do you just like variety?
I really do like the variety. In terms of the werewolves, I haven't really done enough to get an idea. So the ones with the werewolf they're very romance oriented, more so than the others.
Mhm.
And the rest of the characters, I feel like, don't really make too much of an impact always.
They're victims.
Yeah, yeah. In terms of the roles I like, I do enjoy being a antagonist. The ones that I've been an antagonist in, where I'm just like a terrible guy. I do have fun with them. They really allow me to kind of show a different side of my personality. Something that I don't relate to at all with most of these because they're just like the worst. But I enjoy those. And then on the flip side, I do enjoy comedic roles. Although in terms of this question, there's not as much comedy in verticals
Yet.
as what I'd like yet. And I really wish there was more. I would love to have a full-blown comedy vertical. Some of them do have kind of upbeat moments. I'm not so sure if they're always meant to be funny or if they're sometimes they're kind of like ironically funny. You can't really tell, but a full-blown comedy would be great. I would absolutely love to act in one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, so basically, if my next question was going to be, but you kind of answered it, what would you like to see in a format of vertical? But so you would really like them to really go for a full-blown comedy.
Absolutely, yeah. If there was something that you can still have your moments of romance and some of your stock characters, but if it was full-blown comedy, I think it would bring in such a bigger audience. And also, to answer your question, obviously they are working on some of these now, but I think there's so much room for diversity in the casting and the stories, and that would be something that would be great to see as well.
No, I agree. I mean, when I first started watching them back in November, every other one was billionaire this, billionaire that, and I go, how many billionaires can there be that nobody knows what they look like?
Oh, there's so many.
I guess so, especially in verticals.
They all have the black card or the gold card.
Yes, and it's like, really? Oh, that's a fake. It's like, okay, and I've heard that line many times.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, they still got me hooked, and I hated it. I absolutely had, and I'm the reason Marcia got involved with it when I told her what we were going to start doing. And, she had the same questions. What are these things? And she started looking and she goes, Michael, I'm ready.
Fascinating.
They really are.
And it's like the Wild West, really. It's a new frontier.
Yeah, it's a new format, and I don't think any of us know where it's going next.
No, it could go lots of places.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Have you said you've been to Boston and you filmed in New York. Is there any other place that you've filmed verticals in, or any other project that you've done?
So I have filmed verticals in New Jersey a lot, which is really technically
outside of New York City.
No, it's not. But go ahead.
Well, yeah.
As a New Yorker, I get it.
Yes, but everybody else, I know.
Everyone else, yeah. I really work mostly in the Northeast here, acting wise. I filmed projects in Connecticut, in Pennsylvania, and I do hope to work on projects this year in other states, in other countries. I've been actually auditioning for projects all over, and at this point, I'm like, you know what? This is my travel. I'm looking to see new places, meet new people, and wherever it takes me, I am so down for it.
What would be your dream country to go to? Not necessarily one that you've already tried to get to, but just where was one place you'd really like to go and have an excuse, and a vertical would be a good excuse?
Well, I would love to go to Europe. And I'm not really sure what the vertical market is there. I know they filmed some in the UK and they're doing some in Turkey now, but I really would love to see Spain and Italy, and that would be one of those two countries, probably my dream, or Greece. But I think for a language issue, I have a decent handling on Spanish. I would, if I can go to Spain and work on my Spanish and film a vertical, that would be amazing.
I don't blame you, Marsha.
Well, I want to go back to your authorship, and I saw that you had written a book on garage sales. Is that right? And you got to tell me about that. How did that come about?
So that book was my first foray into creating anything that was publicly available. So when my upbringing was that I always had an entrepreneurial spirit, and I would just always have garage sales at my house growing up, and I would do all sorts of things to make money, and I would I would buy out storage lockers because my parents were into that, and I would flip it and sell the stuff. So when I was in like 8th grade, I wrote this book on how to run a garage sale, a successful garage sale, with all these tips like, oh, you need to organize and how to price things and flip merchandise. And that was the first thing. I was so excited in high school. I was like, this is my first book. How cool is this? And from there, I was like, I just want to keep on going and creating things.
That is very cool.
Thank you.
And to explore a little bit more of your past, I saw that you have been a DJ. Can you spin?
So I am hesitant to call myself a DJ professionally. I do have a mixer. I could make a mean mixtape. I could throw a party. You know what? It's been a couple of years since I've really been at it. I've never done it professionally, but it is the most fun. It is literally the most fun thing ever. Just having tracks and just having the party going and just seamlessly editing and scratching, and it's just so much fun.
So you actually have used 2 turntables?
I have what is it called? It's like it's not a CDJ. It's basically what I have is you actually plug in a hard drive.
Okay.
And, it's all digital, and I forget what it's actually called. It's a Denon. But it's all, you plug in your iPod or you stream off SoundCloud or Beatport. And whenever I need to kind of just blow off steam, but I can't really go outside, I just have a dance party of one and I record music. And it's so much fun.
Do you film it, Bryan?
I should, maybe.
And then maybe you can be in one of the first musicals that they have on a...
Right? I could be in my first musical.
Because I also understand you're working on that you didn't really want to talk about too much a couple of months ago, a documentary about hip hop.
Yes. So you, I guess you did your research.
She's good. She's good.
Wow, you're really good. I am more than happy to talk about it, although I have not heard any updates. So I'm not able to give any more information because I simply do not know. And I haven't heard updates, but it should be coming soon.
So can I ask you, you enjoy hip hop then? Is that part of what you like?
I do. So I grew up on hip hop and I grew up on house music, on dance music, EDM. And, I really love just all party music. There's only a few genres that I'm not really into, but I do enjoy, especially some old school hip hop.
I talk about that a little bit from my own history of growing up in New York. If I told you where I'm from, you probably would know the area of Queens that I come from, where kind of hip hop started in a way where they they bring out the, as I said, the two turntables and a microphone
Yeah.
and spin and just and jam and just try to see what music felt like and what dance felt like.
Yeah. It's amazing. It's you know, I know it's the what do they call it? The tenets, the five pillars of hip hop. Is that what it's called?
Hmm.
Where, I think we need more of that in our community, where just bringing people things that bring people together,
Hmm.
whether it's, poetry or dancing or
Hmm. Because back in the day, may I say, it was it
Yesterday,
was
that was
exactly that community. It was people getting together and enjoying and vibing off of each other and the creation of it. And I'm gratified and really looking forward to what you're going to be doing in that area. And I hope we keep in touch to find out where that progresses, because I think that's fun, and as you say, it's important. So
yeah.
thank you for doing that.
Absolutely. I'm really excited to be in that project.
Hmm. Hmm.
Whenever it does start production.
Hmm. And then since this is when it's mid-June and it is baseball season, I have to ask you. Um, I saw one of your very early projects, probably when you were in high school, and it was about a high school kid who was in his high school, and he was trying to find himself, and he was half blind, and that I think you were the camera person on that. Um, but he was wearing a Yankee shirt.
Okay.
So I'm thinking, it was what was it called? He was in high school, and there
His
was nobody in the
film.
high school, and he's running around looking.
Yes. So that was a short film.
Yeah, so we're sure. Uh-huh.
What? Wow. Yeah.
she
So
pulls up fun stuff, huh?
yeah, I remember. I think I was the camera person on that. I did show up at the end acting in it. I can't even
Yes.
remember what the name of it was called.
Hmm. But so I say that because he had on a New York Yankees shirt, and I'm from Queens, so that means Mets. So I need to find out if you're interested in baseball and Yankees or Mets. This is the Marsha Baseball Minute here.
This is the baseball minute. Okay. So I really have no feeling towards teams, besides the fact that I did grow up like, when you're young, you're kind of like, oh well, you're a Yankees fan or a Mets fan. Like my dad was a Mets fan, so I guess that made me one. But I really I have like so neutral feelings towards sports. It's actually embarrassing. Like I should feel some way or another, but I just
Well, good. And that's cool. I get that. I get that's cool. So I'm claiming you on the med side. Let me write that down here.
you're taking notes of me.
She was
But
so excited when I told her that, hey, I've got another guest that's from New York. Oh, she got so excited.
I'm glad to see you're from New York too. I wasn't sure where you guys were from. I'm like, I have no idea, but I'm
well,
here.
yeah. Currently, I'm in Florida, but I will always claim New York. But I also wanted to ask you about your a New York accent. It can be quite distinctive.
Absolutely.
And are you able to drop that when you want to? How challenging is that?
That is a bit challenging for me.
Hmm.
So far, it's something. Actually, I did have a callback for a film. They wanted me to do a Midwestern accent,
Ooh.
and I tried. I really did try. I couldn't. I sent in the tape. They liked my performance. I was
Hmm.
like, "There's no way you think I'm from the Midwest." But you know, being typecast so far early in my career, has been good, because you know what, you always need someone that's from New York in a film. So as I act more, I'm definitely going to try to, try different accents and do whatever I do. But there's always someone looking for the New York accent, and I've lived here my whole life, so it is like,
It's there.
how
It
it
ain't
is
going nowhere.
in you.
Well, it's a great accent, and it makes me feel like home. So I
Well,
think
welcome
it's
home.
absolutely cool. And you have so many projects coming up. I mean, your IMDb looks like a stack. You might have 19 or 17 that are upcoming.
Yeah, let me tell you, there's even more that are not even listed. There's so many things I have to just constantly write down and keep schedules. I've been really grateful to, I've been hustling, but I'm so grateful for every production that I've been in so far.
Well, I'm going to tell everybody out in the chat room, if they have a question for Bryan, please put it out there very quickly, because we're going to be closing down pretty soon. But Bryan, is there anything that we haven't mentioned that you wanted to bring up? If you've got some big announcement, like, you're moving to Florida to go meet Marsha or something like that, or
So we can
by all
spin.
means, I'm down whenever you guys have anything, please. Speaking of, right now I'm just in the process of, I'm staying in New York, but like I said, I'm looking to travel more. I'm looking to get possible agents in other cities if that's something they're willing to take me on. I'm really just trying to really see the world and get out of New York for a bit and just try new things. So
Well, also, tell us a little bit more about the Extraordinary Appetite.
Sure. So that was a short film. And so that one, I only had a really small acting part in, although it is part of a series of films that I'm working with the production team on both producing and acting in. And they have a whole series of films that they want to make for this. It'll be the very gritty New York drama. And I'm really excited to be working with them in the future. I had a lot of fun in that film, getting blown up in the car.
Right.
And that was actually my car at the time, so they were like, "That's perfect." But it
blew up your actual car
for the scene. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Okay.
Nice special effects, but
I hope so. Not the real thing. Yeah.
So we won't get to see you on screen in your character, because you're like bye now.
Yeah, hopefully we'll figure out a way to write me in. Maybe it'll be a prequel, or it'll be in the same universe. But
he probably had a long lost twin. That's what usually is.
There's always there's a plot twist, and turns out I was my twin was the billionaire who
absolutely.
I was actually
reclusive billionaire.
Yeah.
Well, we've heard that some verticals are going into the sci-fi area. The more they've had the alphas and stuff, but real true science fiction.
Yeah, there's sci-fi, there's thrillers that I've seen.
Yeah.
There's all sorts of different ones. And like I said, different parts of the country and different countries as well are getting into it. So I've seen Midwestern themed ones set in the Midwest and the South. They film them in Mexico in Spanish. There's so many different genres. And I really do think this is going to be something that's here to stay. So although some of the scripts might be cheesy and the budgets aren't so large, I think they are making money, and there will be higher budgets and even greater stories to tell in the future. So I'm on the train.
Are you writing verticals?
I can't say I am, but I would love to. I am very excited to write my own screenplay in the future. If I could just sit still and actually write. When I get the time, I would love to write one. So I hope to have the time and to have the.
Yeah, you just made the sign of the vertical, and
yeah, literally. Am I out of frame here?
Right.
Well, you do have to think that a lot on the verticals.
You do, yeah. It's. I mean, I'm the worst with that. Half the time, I'm running all over the place, but I'm trying to get better with that. But yeah, you do have to. You forget because the screens are so small that they pick up on everything. But it's just so much fun. All every little scene, every project. It's just total chaos and total fun, and in between takes we're just laughing all day long.
And you make a lot of friends, I guess.
Yes, we really do. You always see the same people, and you always, after you leave, you're like, oh, we'll see you on the next one. So it's a nice community.
Wonderful.
Well, that is good. Well, Bryan, on behalf of Marcia and myself, I thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
It has been fun, and I hope Marcia didn't pull out any zingers for you there.
Oh no, I was expecting worse. I was like, we can keep going, dig deeper.
We try not to be too bad, but
next time,
detector on me.
Next time.
Yeah, next time we can do it. You have to save something for next time.
Yeah, but thank you so much, guys, for having me. I really had a great time on this.
Thank you.
Well, and good luck to you in your future ventures, and hopefully you've got at least one more book for this month.
No verticals yet. I'm going to horizontal mode.
But, oh, well, that's good too.
I hope to be back soon.
Yeah. Well, okay. So everyone out there, take care, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Guys. Bye.